going?
Hello, how are you? Hold on, I'm going to fix my thing real fast.
Yeah, it zooms in weird.
It's taking some playing way up on my face. Okay.
Oh, well, how have you been?
Good. Just working on homework all day, really. How are you?
Oh, I've been a little bit under the weather, but I think I'm on the way up.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's all right. Let's start with a little intro here. You're Miss Figure Arkansas 2018. I'm sure that was pretty awesome. You had a pretty busy season doing some other shows as well.
Yeah.
But what was 2018 like for you?
Oh my gosh, unexpected. I would say that was the biggest thing. I didn't really see any of that coming. I mean, I set out to kind of just get a few more shows under my belt, and things kind of sped up really fast, and I just kind of went with it and put my head down and put in the work. So,
okay. Those shows that you did last year, do you think you increasingly got better, about a better package each one?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I started out, I mean, that just comes with time. The more you diet down, the better you're going to look. So, yeah, I started out at the Oklahoma State Championships in June, where I won Miss Oklahoma Novice, and then I placed 4th in my class. It was a pretty competitive class that I was in, and then we went to the Europa in late June, so 4 weeks later. And even in that 4 weeks, I made a lot of progress, so I was able to bring a different package. And then finally the Arkansas State, where I brought the best package I've ever had. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty awesome. I'll take a step back a little bit. Are you from Arkansas?
No, so I actually grew up in Fort Gibson, Oklahoma, which is like a super small town, kind of in the Tulsa area. It's like 45 minutes, like southeast, or I'm trying to think, it's like southeast of Tulsa, basically. I don't know if you're familiar with like the Muskogee area or anything like that, but it's actually just right across the border, so it's actually not far from here. But that's where I grew up.
Okay, and then are you in Arkansas now? You're a student?
Yes, I live in Fayetteville, and my parents live in Springdale. They're kind of what brought me here, because I just wanted to go back home and kind of be with them for a while and try and figure things out and like what I wanted to do and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So how did you get into bodybuilding?
Oh, gosh. I didn't really get into bodybuilding until probably after high school. Like, I started weight training. I wouldn't say I was into the bodybuilding scene until I kind of started really getting into just weight training. I was kind of coming out of that awkward period of high school. When I graduated, I was a swimmer, and so I wanted something else to do. I kind of needed something else to do because I'm just a very goal-oriented person. So that was the only thing that I kind of could do. As far as like a sport went, I mean, there's really nothing for swimming if you're not going into college for swimming. So I wanted something else to do. So I started weight training, and then I, saw a lot of progress in my first year. And I thought, you know what, I see all these fit spos on Instagram. They look great. And so I kind of just wanted to do that. And so I hopped into my first competition prep in 2016.
Okay, it's hard not to be competitive.
Yeah.
So what was your first show?
Do what, when, or what?
Oh, what was it, your first show?
So it was actually a Natural Federation in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it was the NANBF. I think it was just the Tulsa Natural. It was just a little, spit-on show. No one really cared about it, but I thought it was a big deal. And it's kind of what got me started, even though it is bikini, and I'm not a bikini competitor anymore. It was that first dip in the toes in the water kind of thing into the whole bodybuilding lifestyle, even though I don't really think national federations are kind of on the same level as, NPC is a lot more prestigious and a lot more competitive, in my opinion. But it was good. It was a good start, and I think it's a great intro for anyone who really wants to get into it.
Could you talk a little bit about that change from bikini to figure? When did you realize that you were going to do figure?
Oh gosh, so I didn't even do well in my first bikini show. I didn't even place. I don't even know what place I got. I know I didn't bring home any hardware by any means. And I definitely wasn't lean enough, but I think you have to go through that to kind of figure out where you fit in. So some of the critiques that I got back were like, my legs weren't proportional to my upper body, so my quads are just dominant. Naturally, they're just very, they're huge. Like they didn't really fit the criteria for bikini, and bikini kind of calls for that more, I guess, proportioned lower body, whereas figure, you have like the kind of like V taper and then the X frame, so it's like a wide lat, and then like wide shoulders, and then skinny waist, and then like wider, like, you know, quad dominance is really what looks good for figure. And so you have to play to your strengths, and so that was my strength. So instead of trying to really fit that criteria for bikini, I decided to transition into figure. And while I still don't have the upper body size for figure, it's definitely something that I can add to, and I'm on my way there. So I fit well in figure. I didn't have the personality of a bikini competitor, which is very like pageanty and princess-like. I'm not like that at all when I'm on stage. I'm very serious when I'm on stage. I'm just very like still. I'm just kind of there to like present instead of show off a bubbly spirit, if that makes sense. So yeah.
Okay. Did you compete in 2017?
I did. So 2017 was an awkward competition year for me. I was going through a lot of life difficulties as far as like, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was just doing it because I just honestly just wanted to look good and just wanted to lose a little bit more weight. Things in my life in 2017 were very stressful for me. I was living in Texas at the time at a university that just wasn't for me, taking classes that weren't for me, working at a job that wasn't for me, and that prep was kind of the only thing that I had that I felt good about. So when I did those shows, I think that was my first year in NPC. So I did I did a show in Tulsa, Battle of the Bodies. I don't know, a lot of people may be familiar with it. That was my first show that I actually placed in, and then I did the Arkansas State for the first time that year a few months later in August, and then I followed up the next week, so I did a back-to-back peak week, and I did the Showdown of Champions in Oklahoma City, which wasn't a good show for me. And so then I changed coaches and signed on with Alex Bush from Physique Development, and he really transformed my physique and my mentality for 2018, and we're still working together to this day, and he's a great coach. So
okay, that sort of leads me into my next question. What do you think were some of your keys to being so successful in 2018?
Well, new coaching was a big thing, and I think going through those preps that I just didn't do well in, I kind of figured out what I needed to do and what I needed to fix as far as like half-assing things, cutting corners on things. Like prep isn't the place to do that. And you taught me not to procrastinate. That was a huge key for me, was to just put my head down and work instead of putting things off and comparing myself all the time, so like that, along with knowing what to expect, was a lot better for me. So better coaching, better mindset, different goals. I was just able to really focus on my preps this year more than any other year. I wasn't really working or anything. I was just really going to school, and then I had the summer, and so it was nice to just kind of do things on my own time and make that like work for myself. And like stress management was a huge thing. Time management was a huge thing. So, yeah.
Okay. But before we start to go into your future a little bit and future plans, do you have a favorite competition memory or any funny stories or anything that you'd like to share?
I have a few. I think I would say because it's very like, a lot of people have their opinions about it. So my favorite competition memory was the Arkansas State show where I won the overall and I won Miss Arkansas 2018 because it was unexpected. No one was expecting it, not even me. And so that was my favorite, knowing that I actually pulled that off and that that's my title right now. And so it was just something that was really like winning an overall is kind of rare for people. And so it's like, wow, it made me feel like I could take this a step further and go to nationals and actually be competitive. Like nothing's impossible if you actually really want something. So that was my favorite for sure.
Okay. Had to get that eagle.
Yes.
So, do you expect to compete in 2019?
I did, but no, I will not be competing this year. I will be prepping this year, but I won't compete until next year. So I will be competing in early 2020, but I will not start in actual competition prep until probably September or October. I would have been starting this year, and I would have been probably competing at North Americans in Pittsburgh. But just as far as me being ready for that show, as far as like size, it would have been questionable, as well as like my mentality. I probably would have been pretty burnt out, and there's a lot of life changes going on in that time frame as well. So like contrary to popular belief, contest prep is not the priority for me as far as like life goes. It used to be, but now that I have to make a life for myself, it's not. So no, but I will be on stage hopefully in spring of 2020. I have my sights set on the Arnold, but I'm not going to commit myself to anything or announce anything or like, say for sure that I'm doing this, just because you never know what happens. And but those are my hopes. So, yeah.
Okay, that's awesome. So,
thank you.
What's your current training like? How often are you in the gym?
Yeah, so I usually train 5 days a week, sometimes 6 if I'm feeling really good that week, and if it's like a strength phase where I'm just, doing lower reps, higher weight. But right now I'm on a lot of volume training, so I have a lot of sets and a lot of pushing a lot of weight, and the intensity is pretty high right now. So I think my focus right now is I'm in a metabolic phase, so we're doing things like maybe 3 upper body days and 2 lower body days, with a little bit sprinkled in here and there, like mixed. It's not really, like today I did chest and biceps, but I also had like calves. You know what I mean? So it's just like a little mixture here and there, different things, parts that I need to bring up. And then my cardio, since I'm in a deficit right now, I'm actually cutting a little bit for the Arnold this week and just summer in general, graduation and things like that. My cardio, I do like 1 HIIT session and like 3 list sessions at 40 minutes a week, and then going on walks and trying to keep my knee high. So, yeah.
Okay. And then do you have what I guess are sort of your landmarks in the off season? You mentioned that you're cutting right now, but what do you try to do just to maybe not get too, I guess, fluffy or something, or too lean, or what are your goals in the off season?
Yeah, so that was my biggest concern because I did have that plan to go ahead and do a prep this year. So like going into this off season, my coach and I, we wanted to keep within the range of like, I don't know, say my stage weight was like 128. We wanted to cap any type of fat gain off at like 135. If that makes sense. But as far as like, since I'm not going to be competing until 2020 and not starting a prep until September, I still prefer a leaner look. I'm not a fan of going off the wall in the off season. I'm not going to let myself do that just because I have to turn right back around, and it makes that prep that much harder the next time. And conditioning has always been my Achilles heel. My body I have to get really low to get really lean, like most females do. And so, I really just don't want to make it harder for myself. I'm still able to, I have that time frame where I can put on a good amount of tissue just because I have time on my side now instead of rushing to be in a prep and be ready size-wise. So I think it's just right now I'm just wanting to maintain what I'm at, if not just be a little bit leaner just for summer and just to have that room to enjoy things. I don't know my current body weight. I don't have a really good relationship with the scale right now. I did in prep just because it was a data point for me. But for right now, there's so many factors going on with stress and just different foods. And the scale isn't really accurate for me. And so I just put it aside. But if I had to guess, I'd say 133 to 134. And my stage weight was like 128. So most people say that I've had a very successful off season as far as maintaining where I'm at and maintaining a leaner look. And not letting myself, not letting shit hit the fan, so, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what's diet sort of look like in that? You mentioned you're in a calorie deficit, but I'm sure that's not all the time.
No, like I'll still have free meals here and there. And like this weekend, we're going to go to BJ's and like pig out on Pizookies with my team. So, but are you asking like food sources or like amounts? Like,
yeah, you can take it any way you want.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, so for my diet, between off-season and prep, things don't really change for me as far as my habits and my eating habits go. I still eat at the same times. I still practice intermittent fasting on my lower days, I still track everything I eat. And I think that makes for someone who's serious about competing, I think that's important. I think it makes a very successful career in bodybuilding just because I don't have the need to make the switch flip because I'm already there. So like when I'm in prep, it's not really a flip of a switch for me. It's just like, all right, well, take out some carbs and increase your cardio. So it's that's kind of how I approach my nutrition. Obviously in the off season, I have more of a leeway for things or things if I don't want to go untracked or something, it's fine. So yeah, but I mean, prep definitely gives you that mindset and like you're ready to go and like ready to see the shreds, like pissed if you don't have abs after 2 days, So, yeah.
Okay. And what would be some advice if someone's trying to maybe be like you or have a diet or a training plan like you? What are some points of advice you'd give them?
I'd say consistency. Consistency is going to be your best friend, no matter what. Rome wasn't built in a day, obviously, and so the same thing goes for bodybuilding. Consistency, patience, and just trusting that what you're doing is going to work, and also, just taking care of yourself and making sure you have all your ducks in a row. And the only reason why you aren't where you want to be is your own fault. Like, don't blame outside sources for anything. Like, I learned to stop doing that. So just be responsible for yourself and you'll get where you want to be.
Okay. So I've asked about training and diet a little bit. How often do you practice posing?
Oh, gosh. I would say, okay, so during off season, that's another story, but during prep, I don't start really dialing in on posing, and I know this is bad, but I don't start really dialing in on posing until maybe 12 weeks out is when I'll really start hammering it, but I'll dabble in it after my workouts here and there when prep starts. But in the off season, I'm like, I don't give a shit about posing just because I have a really good muscle memory with my posing, and I'm self-taught, and so I really know how to look at my body and figure out what looks best and what doesn't look best, And I've always had really good critiques on my posing. The judges love my stage presence and everything like that. So it's never really been a concern for me. And it's never really been a struggle for me. But yeah, I'll really start dialing in on posing when I'm 12 to 16 weeks out. So, yeah.
And what's a typical posing session like for you?
Quick.
Yeah.
Yes. So usually my posing is when I'm done working out after my muscles are kind of loose and I'm able to just have good connections with the muscle. And so it's just it's usually post-workout, 10 to 15 minutes. I think for me, it works better to do it more frequently and shorter lengths of time instead of spending an hour going over a routine and then forgetting it, and like going to opposing class 3 weeks later and not even remembering what I did the last time I was there, you know. So like little short intermittent like posing sessions, and also like when you're at the gym, like pose in the fucking mirror, like be a douchebag, like do it, like it helps that connection to your muscle. And when you're on stage, like who gives a shit what other people think? So that's basically for me.
We take maybe a step back to look at all of fitness in your life. What's something that maybe you didn't expect that came out of bodybuilding or fitness that
I didn't expect? Oh, that's a hard one. So like what's something that, rephrase your question. Like,
sorry, you were breaking up a little bit there. What was that?
Yeah, I know. Can you rephrase your question? Like I didn't expect.
What's something that unexpected that bodybuilding or fitness changed in your life?
Probably, I would say like connection. Having a connection with the people that I do now. I went into bodybuilding as an extremely just kind of selfish and just by myself kind of person. I didn't really have a lot of friends in bodybuilding. It was just me going in to look better. And but since I've started bodybuilding, like it's given me more than just, you know, abs and shredded quads. Like I've gotten like some of my best friends that I get to see this weekend. I'm so excited. So yeah, my friends are kind of all over the United States, and one's in Canada. And so it's really fun when we all get to come together, like at expos such as the Arnold. So it's brought me a lot of relationships and a lot of like cohesiveness, and being around like-minded people is a huge thing. And I didn't really expect that at all from bodybuilding. Like when I started, I didn't expect to be like Miss Arkansas. Like I didn't set out to be any of this, but it's all kind of just fallen into place, and I think that's pretty cool.
Oh yeah. So what's a little bit of the non-building bodybuilding, Audrey, like? What's something that you do? I assume fitness takes over a lot of your life, but yeah. What's something that you like to do outside of that?
So I play Animal Crossing. Like, do you have like a Nintendo system, or you can totally download it, or like Lego Harry Potter is my favorite. I'm actually like a huge like gamer person, you could say. I'm like up and coming in the whole like world of video games. I like the side of it where I get to just kind of unplug from the world, and it's actually been a really good thing for my mental health. Also, I love reading. I love reading a study. Every week I'll have a study that I do and that I'm interested in that week, and then I'll report on it. I don't know if you see like my Thought Thursday post or whatever, but so I'll do that. So I'm really big into psychology and like human behavior and organizational behavior and things like that. So yeah.
Well, that's awesome. But I think we're about to wrap it up a little bit. Do you have any closing thoughts or anything that you'd like to share with anybody?
No, man, I just think it's awesome what you're doing for Arkansas, bringing all the fitness juice heads together and stuff. So keep doing what you're doing and spreading good vibes. I know there's a lot of people in our state who are, you know, have their own opinions about some people, but it's okay. And I think that you're doing a really good job with your page. So.
Well, thank you, and thanks for joining us. It was a pretty awesome year you had, Miss Figure Arkansas, and
absolutely, yeah.
And thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you later.
Bye.